Hello, I'm just making this video to talk about schizophrenia and mental health issues in general. I've been diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and OCD. These experiences have taught me much. I like to think of them as more of a blessing, and remaining positive I believe entails this. Well, what do I want to say? Well, I've been wanting to do some work raising an awareness for mental health issues for some time, especially for people first entering the system. One of the major things I want to say is basically mental illness is not the end. Whatever you're going through, however you feel your life is going, things can get better. I believe that when I was having really powerful psychosis, that I was the only one who was experiencing anything like this. I felt so alone and isolated when I was going through my mental health experiences, my mental illness experiences, but basically what I realised years later, after being admitted to a psychiatric hospital and being involved in the community, that I wasn't the only one who went through what I went through. At the time when I was really suffering, I didn't really have the vocabulary to express what I was going through. But getting involved in the community, and after being admitted to psychiatric hospitals, I realised I wasn't the only one going through what I went through, and basically getting involved in the community was one of the first major steps on the road to recovery. I was lucky to some degree, as within my local area there is a Mind Resource Cafe and a local community centre. This helped me tremendously, getting involved with both of these, to regain confidence and feel a greater part of my environment and wider world. I feel that a major part of suffering with mental health problems is the feelings of isolation and loneliness and feeling separated from the rest of the world. I believe getting involved with local community centres and being part of a Mind or Rethink, if you can really help in making you feel more a part of what's going on. And yeah, I feel a lot of these issues that we face within mental health problems are basically problems of a human condition. They're not necessarily down to mental illness as such, but sometimes even more so just down with being human. I feel that positive friendships and relationships in general have been vital in my recovery. Basically, I know this can be tricky, but having a good relationship with your friends, family, anyone in your life, and especially yourself, I feel is a really vital part of getting back to recovery and finding a greater sense of well-being. One thing that I'm passionate about is breaking stigma on mental health issues in general, but basically one of the ideas that I'm passionate about is basically, when I first was diagnosed with schizophrenia, I hadn't a clue what it meant. I had this vague impression of someone like running around screaming it's the end of the world or something, being crazy. But so I find it important to inform people what mental illness actually does involve, and it can vary for a lot of people. But I think basically the media don't do like diagnoses such as schizophrenia any justice, because the media portray mental illness is such like a criminal thing and associate it to murders and stuff like that, when in fact being mentally ill, you're more likely to be attacked than to attack anyone else. In fact, the diagnosis can be one of the major problems that the person faces, and how one is accepted within one's peers and wider community. But this is generally down to the fact that people hold stigma, and it's sometimes very difficult for someone who suffered with mental health problems to be accepted within the wider community, down to the stigma that the media has caused. Remember, most news is sensational news, designed to sell papers, and basically it's usually so misleading and helpful that a lot of damage can be caused by it. One person I was in a meeting with thought basically that schizophrenia was some insane man waving a knife around violently and attacking people with a knife and stuff, and that's just one example of how the media can give this impression to people that sort of schizophrenics or people who are mentally ill are really dangerous people, when generally it's just not the case at all. But actually, most schizophrenics are very caring, sensitive, kind people, and are actually more likely to be attacked than to attack anyone. I've heard it said that by some people that basically the reason why people do have problems is because they think and care too much, and this leads them to difficulties and distress. When I heard that, considering myself and others, this rings true to me. So just remember, schizophrenia or any other mental health issue or distress is not the end. There is always hope. Try and stay positive, and don't be afraid to ask for help or to admit your difficulties. At the end of the day, we are only human, and sometimes things are just too much for us to handle. That is all on the subject right now, but follow this thread as will be added much more in the future. Love and peace, White Grey.